Good evening, everyone. It's Monday night, and this is Alan Roark with the 16th edition of Inside Wildcat Football on News Radio 1400 KTEM on your AM dial. And you know what? There's not a whole lot of high schools out there that have a coaches show in the 16th week. So we are here live at Wings Pizza and Things on HK Dodge and Loop in Temple, Texas, being hosted by owner Mike Dent. Let's give him a hand. He's been a wonderful host and sponsor of Wildcat football all year long. So tonight's show is also brought to you by our sponsors, Las Tavica Jewelers, with over 50 years of jewelry expertise in design and sales here in Temple, and Howell Dental Associates, owned by Uncle Dr. John Howell, former Wildcat fullback and in practice here in Temple for almost 40 years. Inside Wildcat Football is the weekly radio show where Wildcat fans from all over get to hear head coach Scott Stewart break down last Friday night's game, or actually it would be Saturday's game, wouldn't it? And then take a look ahead to the matchups the Wildcats will have this next Saturday. So this week we've got Coach Stewart once again, and we got some excited Wildcat fans in the house. Let's give Coach Stewart a hand.
No, you only give me a hand.
Anybody go to the game Saturday? Yeah, everybody went to the game Saturday.
It'd have been a great time to loot Temple, because I promise you Wildcat Stadium was full.
Hey, word is that we had over 11,000 fans there for a high school football game on Saturday in not awesome weather. I mean, it wasn't bright and sunny out and warm. You know?
I've said since I got here that those on the outside don't understand it, and those on the inside can't explain it. It's its own entity. It's its own. I mean, this fan base, this Wildcat Nation is unbelievable, and it just. I mean, nothing ever surprises me with these guys anymore. Nothing, but it's still impressive. I mean, like they asked, where wouldn't they travel? I said if we had to play in Canada, they'd be there. So. Love them to death.
Well, I don't know if you knew this, Coach, but the week before we actually had a listening party in London, England. There were people. There was a young lady from Temple that made all of her English friends listen to our football game, and then this past weekend, that same listening party happened again in London, which must have been. Well, I don't know, 3 or 4 in the morning. I don't know. I can't count that high, even though I teach math. But we also had listeners from Casablanca, Morocco.
Yeah.
This past weekend.
The T-Town takeover, baby.
Hey, man, I'm telling you, Temple Wildcat football is literally worldwide.
Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. And only a place like Temple, it's nothing surprises me with this place. I love it.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean. The fans went. There's videos on Inside Wildcat Football Facebook page of the fans going nuts at the end of the game. Of course, we've got several sponsors here tonight. We might as well give them all a hand also. Bryce Alsop with Sports World Downtown's over here. We've got Dr. Joe Olivares, the doctor of photography, in the house also. And and we've got Wes Teeters, formerly of Wes's Burger Shack, now of Hometown Diner, same location downtown, best breakfast you can buy. So we got all those guys in the house, all big supporters of Wildcat football and Coach Stewart.
We also got Mrs. Parks over there in the corner. She's one of our Temple ISD administrators.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And we got Dr. Little that helps us. So there's all kinds. It's one big happy family.
And Sam is on the team, right?
I got a backup quarterback right over there, yep.
Yeah, I've known Sam for a while because my daughter's his age, and they went up through Cotillion together. So I've known them for a while, too.
Get his autograph while you can, because that young man's going to be a superstar at whatever he does.
I can't imagine. And Mrs. Little is also on the TEF, which passed out all those thousands of dollars worth of grants today to all the schools. I don't know if you saw any of those, but there were a lot of teachers.
I was watching a little video today.
Yeah, I would imagine you might be a little busy, but we'll let you know about it next week. So, so I guess last week we had another big foe that we were supposed to lose to in Richmond Foster. Not to knock them or anything. That was a good football team, but we played a pretty good game ourselves.
Yeah, well, I mean, we weren't very aggressive coming out. I mean, I think all the hip-hop and all the hype and stuff, I don't know what it was. I mean, defensively, we weren't doing anything wrong. We were just playing really, really passive. And they were a team that showed some different looks on defense. Our offense was trying to feel its way a little bit and trying to figure out what they were going to give us. And then, I think we finally found a little bit of something in the deep ball. The offensive coaches and the kids did a great job executing it. I can't I'm sure people are saying, why didn't you throw more? But, I mean, we threw it when they gave us that look. You know what I mean? We threw it when they gave us the look. They didn't give us that look. I mean, they put a kid that's going to the University of Oklahoma back there in the defensive backfield at times, and that's not when you want to throw the ball up in the air. So we had to be patient. We had to wait for our looks. Challenge the kids to be a little bit more aggressive at halftime. We were just kind of playing. We were playing not to screw up. We were playing not to get beat. You can't play a kid like C.D. Lamb or any of those other kids. You can't play a good football team trying not to screw up. Passivity doesn't have a place in this game. So, I kind of, in a very vehement style, I get pretty excited when I challenge kids, but. I challenged them to be more aggressive. I said, if we're going to go out, I want to go out in a blazer. I don't want to be 97 years old in a rocking chair. I want to go out hitting a brick wall at 97 miles an hour. So if we're going to go out, or if we're going to make mistakes, let's make it trying to do something instead of trying to keep something from happening. So I thought they did good. We created a couple turnovers in the second half, and again, I mean, from a fan point of view, I can't imagine you want to see a better game. From my point of view, I just shaved another decade off the end of my life, but and I say that jokingly, kind of, but
kind of,
yeah. But I mean, it was a fun game. I told the kids after the game, just let the wind blow in your face and just. Like, make sure you take all the senses in on this one, because you're going to talk about this day for when you're 60. You're going to wake up tomorrow and be 40, boys. And they, of course, they all roll their eyes. But I was there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm 40.
I do know what you mean.
You know what I mean? I remember sitting in the knee listening to Coach McMurtry over at Troy talk, and he'd say, "Boys, it goes fast." And it was like, whatever. And then I wake up today, and I'm like, whoa, hey.
With kids of your own.
All right, going over there eating a pizza. But, I just wanted them to enjoy that moment. Win, lose, or draw. I mean, again, winning that game, winning the next game is not going to make me a better husband or a better father or better. But it is what it is. It's a compilation of busting your tail for over a year and seeing those. It's the lessons that you learn. Winning helps, and winning's fun, and everybody wants to be a part of a winner. But you learn those same lessons when the other team scores as many points too. I mean, those kids from Foster, they learned a bunch of lessons. They're going to help them for the next 30, 35, 40 years of their life. So, but it's a fun venue. It's a fun ride, and I've been doing it long enough where I guess I don't get as giddy as everybody else, because this will be the fourth time I've been to this game and I haven't won it yet. So, I mean, to me, it's more of a mission type deal than it is, oh, my gosh, we made it. We ain't made nothing yet, Got people asking me, can we have a parade on the way out? And absolutely not. I mean, we can have a parade when we get back,
Right.
So, I think the kids, I talked to them today, I think they're really mission at hand. It's just another week. The finals are going to be enough of a distraction, but I don't want to create any more distractions than we absolutely have to. So, the kids I think they handled the win really well. They handled the travel very well. This is just a special group, because I think I've always said the ones that are special, the groups that are special, the ones that understand what they have while they still have it. Everybody has regrets when it's over. Everybody.
Sure.
As soon as that clock strikes zero, it's instantaneous. The regrets happen. I wish I'd have worked out harder. I wish I'd have done this. I wish I'd have done that. The groups and the young men that understand that while the clock's still ticking got a chance to be special.
That's an excellent philosophy. And, I guess there's a couple of things that you mentioned in that last little bit that I wanted to talk about. But you just expressed concern for the way the other team felt. I thought it was interesting, though, that they were playing their wide receivers at defensive back. But there are some photos floating around taken by Joel Alvarez of you consoling the other team's players. I have heard countless comments on that since that game on Saturday, and I know how little you like attention to be drawn to yourself, but this town on the whole was extremely impressed with you, and you don't have to comment on this at all, but with you consoling players from that other team, and I thought that was impressive.
I mean, I don't mind commenting on it. I didn't know anybody had a camera. I didn't do that. So
we always
anything
have a camera.
would be. Well, I know, but believe it or not, there's more stuff to concentrate on out there than who's got cameras and who don't. I mean, I didn't do that so somebody post pictures up and think I'm a cool guy. I did that because there were young men's hearts that were breaking, and I've been on that field. I played my last game in high school, and my heart shattered into 1,000 pieces. And when you felt that pain, you understand what that looks like, especially young men that do it with class. I mean, they were a classy bunch. They weren't cheap shots. They didn't, their coaches were. You just, when you talk to their coaches and when you talk to those kids before and after the game, you're just dealing with a classy group. And so, when good people. Again, they just didn't score as many points as we did. That doesn't change who they are as humans, and it doesn't change who I am as a human just because. I mean, that kid, the one in particular, I mean, his heart was in 1,000 pieces, and that dude's going to be sitting on the front line of the Heisman Trophy finals one day. But I mean, and I've seen people in that realm, in that state that he's in, and I've seen people in that position, probably a better word, where he's just trying to protect his scholarship. He didn't do that. He went out there and played his guts out. He got his butt knocked off about 19 times and got right back up and went and played defensive back. He was doing everything that he could humanly do to help his team win a football game, and he did it with class. Yeah. So when that kid's heart breaks, I'm going to go hug him. Yeah, I'm going to go tell him that he's a champion and he's doing it right. And, that has nothing to do just because he's got a different uniform on. He looks like a grown man. They all look like grown men, but they're kids. Yeah. And nobody needs to go over there and tell them how bad they suck when they don't win a football game. So, we were shaking hands. We kind of made eye contact, and he just put his head down. So I didn't know what else to do. I just hugged him. So.
Yeah. And that was an impressive young man. He did take some shots, and I still remember that one play, his helmet rolling on the field after he was spinning around doing like a 360 and caught the ball with one hand. Yeah. Still made the catch and got his head knocked off and came up with the ball. That was an impressive play.
Yep, jogged off the field and set up for one play and came right back on and caught the ball, the very next ball. It just you play those guys every once in a while, and unfortunately, you have to play against them too. I've coached them and coached them at Temple, but unfortunately, you got to play against some of those guys too that are just that gifted, just that. And the fun part about Cedarius, I think he goes by CD. Fun part about that young man is that he works his tail. His coach said that he's the hardest worker. We talk about that in our program all the time. What is a winning culture? Everybody talks about winning culture. Well, I define it. We define it for our kids. Winning culture is when you're most, and this is a business model. I talked to Art about what he said. That's a great business model. It's a business model. It's a family. It's a home model with your family. It's an athletics builder. Whatever. It's a school. When you're most talented people, when athletes, workers, employees, whatever, when your most talented people are your hardest workers, that's a winning culture. I don't care how you cut it. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. When you're most with the people in your group with the most talent are the hardest workers, you cannot fail. You may not win everything you do, but you have to be successful because the people that are not as talented are going to follow, always follow. It's human psychology. You're going to follow whoever the most talented people are, and especially if they're doing things right. And so, and he said that CD was one of those kids. He said, Coach, he's the first one in the weight room, last one out. He's the first one on doing sprints, last one out. He leads by example, and the kids follow him. And I think that kid's going to play on Sundays, and I think he's going to be on the front row of that. He's just unbelievable talent, and because he has all that stuff you can't measure too. There is no ceiling for that kid.
Yeah, I think we're going to be seeing him and reading his name in the paper in the future for sure. He was impressive. And another thing that you mentioned earlier was I don't know if you put it exactly this way, but it was like relaxation. It was focus. And when we came into the stadium, 2-3 hours before the game, and you had your Rubik's Cube out. You know, I've heard you talk about doing that Rubik's Cube, and the players were relaxed but focused. Yeah. And that just seems to be every single week. Nobody's nervous, nobody's giddy. They're just businesslike.
They listen. I don't know what. For me, it's a Rubik's Cube. I don't know what it is. And yes, I can do it. I don't just spin it around and watch the pretty colors.
I heard you can do it really fast.
Well,
too.
I'm trying to brag. 1 minute 28 is my fastest time, and I'm not stopping until I get under a minute. But in fact, Miss Claudia, my athletic my assistant, she bought me a 4x4 Rubik's Cube today. So she's challenged me to finish that before the Christmas holidays over. So
that's a big one.
It's not just a hat rack. I got a couple of brain cells left, not many, but my deal is the Rubik's Cube. Those kids, they get in there and it's like Mozart to them. They play that daggum hip hop music, and you'd think that they'd be in there you hear that boom and bang and boom, 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 and I'm like, the first time they did it, and of course I was the defense coordinator, but the first time I did it, I'll walk in there and I'm ready to chew somebody's tail because I'm like, they're going to be hip hop dancing and all that, and it's like just serene. The only thing that's crazy is that music just going, rah, 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 rah. But they're all laid out and they're focused up. Some kids have towels over their heads. Some kids are staring a hole in the wall. Some kids are sleeping. I mean, it's just they're very businesslike, but it's that'll throw you off a little bit. If you walk by the outside of the locker room, you hear all that hip hop parade stuff. I mean, you'd think that there's a party going on there, but you go in there and they're just locked in. It's weird, but hey, to each his own. I ain't gonna tell them how to get ready for a game as long as they come out there and want to split some skulls when they get on the field.
Yeah, no doubt. And and they did that. I mean, they're peaking. Y'all are peaking at the right time. I mean, it's every week we face, it seems like a better foe, and we still pull that victory out.
Well, I mean, the people we're playing, we don't measure up to on paper. I mean, measurable talent, it hadn't been close the last couple of weeks, and that's what I love about this. This is the ultimate team game. You can go in basketball and you can have LeBron James and you're going to win no matter what. You may not win the championships, but you're going to win and you're going to win big. If you have Nolan Ryan on your baseball team, you're going to win and you're going to win big. It's just the nature of the individualism of the sports. You can't just do that. I mean, I'm telling you, don't be surprised if C.D. Lamb is going to be a Heisman Trophy candidate one day, and I have every confidence that he will be. And we got one kid committed to a major P5 school, and they've got 16.
Yeah.
And it's a team game, and it's the things you can't measure that come out on a football field. And I'm not saying they didn't have those things, but we apparently had a little bit more the other day. And that's all it takes. You just got to have a little bit more, and that's what we focus on. That's what we. If you walked all of our kids up against all their kids, it wouldn't even be close. And that's what I love about this game. That's what I love about this group. I got to talk to Mike Spradlin after the game, and he said he watched our Manville game, and this kind of sums up our kids in a nutshell. He said that he and a couple of coaches from that area went to some administrator's house, and they were watching on a big screen. And he said in the middle of the second quarter, he said one of the coaches that didn't know Temple from Adam. I think Coach Berner was there and Coach Spradlin was there. But he said one of those guys stood up and said, "Holy crap, those Temple kids don't know they're supposed to lose."
That's right.
And I said, and he told me that, and he said in that moment that was very profound because you're right. I don't care. They don't care. If we're playing the Green Bay Packers, we're going to go out there to win a football game. May not, but we're going to go out there with the hoopla and the ratings and that doesn't bother them. And it's just, that's the Temple Tough thing that I always talk about. And these kids have adhered themselves to that. I think it's important to study what's gone before. The Wesses of the world, the guys that played their guts out on those fields and understand what the reputation is and what the standard is, and not only to understand it but to embrace it. And I think these kids have done that pretty well.
Well, we were looking out there from the press box and looking at that line that Foster had, and those guys were huge. And that running back they had was massive. Yeah, he was a battering ram.
Yep. Yeah, and we got 175-pound linebackers.
Yeah, right,
but,
right.
Again, there's a lot of stuff you can't measure. And at the end of the day, I don't get to go find, and I'm not saying they didn't either. They were blessed and fortunate to have a 5'10", 230-pound running back that probably, he looks like he squats 600 pounds.
Oh, man, he was huge.
But that's the thing about, I learned something from a man that I respect more than a lot of people on this planet, and it says like this: do the best you can where you are with what you got. You can't do anything else.
Yeah.
Do the best you can where you are. I don't get to go pick out 250-pound linebackers to take care of their 230-pound back.
Right.
You know what I mean? You got who you got, and they do too. They got what they got too. So but all you can do is try to get those kids as prepared as you can get them, and our coaches have done a phenomenal job. I can't speak to the level of respect and level of appreciation I have for our coaching staff because, again, I'm a brand-new head coach. There's a brand-new offensive coordinator. There's a brand-new defensive coordinator. There's a brand-new special teams coordinator. There's a brand-new offensive line. There's a brand-new linebacking core and half of a brand-new secondary. We're not supposed to be doing any of this. And so it's a tribute to those guys and their commitment to excellence and to this program and to this community, and I just can't thank those guys enough.
Well, like you said, maybe we're not supposed to be doing this, but if this is a dream, I don't want anybody to pinch me and wake me up till next Sunday, because this has been a phenomenal season already, and it's not over yet, and that's a huge testament to our coaching staff and our players, and we're just I know everybody here as well as the whole town's just as proud as they can be, and so we weren't supposed to beat Port Arthur, we weren't supposed to beat Manville, we weren't supposed to beat Richmond Foster. And now we've got the winningest high school football program in the history of the state of Texas at any classification coming up this Saturday at noon.
We're not supposed to beat them either, by the way. They're favored by 2 touchdowns.
Are they really?
Yeah.
I don't know who's picking them, but hey, I'm glad. Keep picking against us because it's working for us so far. But, they won their 800th game on Saturday. Of course, the Temple Wildcats aren't too bad themselves. We won our 749th game. So you've got the number 1 winningest program of all time against the number 4 winning. And I know I know you're not thinking about all this, but this is, it really is kind of a historic matchup, at least for the fans, and so.
One of them's going to be 1-0 on Saturday, and one of them's going to be 0-1 on Saturday. That's all I know. And that's the only thing. That's the only thing we focus on. That's the only thing. All the pomp and circumstance that comes with it. There's going to be 2 teams line up on opposite sides of the field. Somebody's going to be 1-0, and somebody's going to be 0-1. Now, what that. And again, I talked to Greg Willie the other day. He goes, "Do you ever just sit back and reflect what this is as your first year head coach?" And the answer is no. I mean, as soon as you start sitting back and think about what you have done, you're losing what should be getting towards.
Sure.
You know what I mean? I don't know how to do that. I mean, at some point when this is over, I'm sure that there'll be some reflection about how cool that was. I mean, I've played in a couple other state championship games, and once it's over, you're like, but I mean, this. What we did today? We did exactly today what we've done the last 15 Mondays. And so this is, it's just a different opponent. It's a big opponent, and they're uber talented, and they're, all my hats off to them as a football team. But other than that, I'm just trying to get ready for a game. And
sure.
So I think that's cool. I think it really is cool. That's 2 storied programs. But that's for you guys, and that's for people that like to study that kind of stuff. And there's nothing wrong with that. But as far as anybody on the inside of this program, we don't talk about that stuff.
Sure, and I can't imagine that you would. And of course, the kids, your players aren't going to remember it either. I mean, the first time we faced this team was in 1935, and I wasn't even alive then. I don't know if you can believe that or not, but and we played them again. We played them in 1976. We've got a little bit of a history with them and everything. But like you said, none of that matters. And we're both looking for our 3rd state title. Those are just storylines once again.
Right.
But it does kind of make for an exciting game. And like you said, they've got a talented football team.
Ooh, yeah.
Their offensive line, I hear, is pretty good.
This will be the best line. They won't be the biggest line we've seen, but they're the best. They remind me a lot of Alito.
That's saying a lot.
The tackles are huge. When I say they're not very big, it's all relative because compared to what we've been seeing, their guards are 6'2", 250, 255, 60 pounds, which isn't a small human being by any means, but
right.
It's not even close to what we've been seeing. But I'll tell you, I'd rather go against big than strong and quick. I feel like that's our advantage has been our defensive line being strong. Our biggest defensive line is 245 pounds.
Right.
We've been going up against 315, 320 pounders the whole playoffs, and I think because we can move and we're strong, well, it's going to be more of an even matchup because these dudes are quick. They move around. They got Jerry's grandson back there at quarterback, and he is a straight running gunslinger. It looks like he was born to be a quarterback. He probably can't help it. He's probably got private lessons from Romo since he was 6 years old. But
sure.
He's unbelievable. They go as he goes. When that kid's on, they're unbelievable. They haven't. I felt like Foster kind of had maybe an easier road to hoe to get to the semifinal game just because of Region 4, and there's just nothing against those guys. I just don't think the teams are as good. You have spectacular individual talent, but I didn't feel like the teams were probably as good as they were in some other regions. Well, Highland Park can't say that. They beat some daggum good football teams to get there. Denton Ryan was some had them ranked as high as number 2. Others had them ranked number 4 or something like that, and they beat them last week. So I mean, you know, they've paid their dues. They earned the right to be there. This is not something that they fluked into this state championship. And I mean, we'll have our hands completely full. I think they're giving up in the playoffs. They're giving up like 8 points a game or 9 points a game or something like that. Their defense is phenomenal, and they're well coached. I mean, they've got a guy that's got 360 wins as a head coach. You know, so
wow, that's a long career.
Randy Allen,
yeah.
And I, if I'm not mistaken, he coached in Abilene Cooper and Bryan. Is what Coach McQueen told me. He coached in Bryan for a little while, but you know, he's done a phenomenal job up there. And they won a state championship with Matthew Stafford in 05, and now they're back in it 11 years later. So, I mean, we'll have our hands full. It's you know, everybody. Only one more to go is what I keep hearing, you know, because I like being up in the front. I like my office being up where they get tickets and stuff, and I get to mingle with the people because I'm a people person. But it's amazing how people think this is a done deal, and I'm like, well, I mean, there's 2 teams going in. There's only 1 team coming out. I mean, it's, you know, well, we've gone this far, might as well win it. And I agree 100%, but you know, they're going to have something to say about that too. So we'll put a good plan, and we'll go execute it with every bit of guts and gall that we have, just like we have been.
Well, you know, and there's something else that I noticed about that team. You know, they have a gunslinging quarterback, and like you said, he's the grandson of Jerry Jones, so he's kind of playing at home. They've been playing there every week. I guess they got somebody that knows the guy that makes reservations there or something. I don't know. But they also have a pretty darn good running game.
Yeah.
That running back they've got is pretty solid.
Yeah, they're big. They've got, I don't know if they're as bowling ballish as that kid was last week, but they're just big, hard nosed, you know, ground and pound type guys, and you know, it's not a great matchup for us just because we are kind of smallish, you know, across the board, but. You know, we also spend a lot of time in the weight room, so we'll see. I mean, it's physics. You know, mass is just mass. With speed comes more force. So, you know, we're going to line up. I know a lot of people are handing them the trophy already, but we're going to go ahead and line up and play if they'll let us. If they'll allow us to play a football game instead of just handing them the trophy, we're going to go ahead and try to do that and see if we can have at least something to say about that.
Yeah, we've had to snatch a few trophies back the last 2-3 weeks anyway, but they also have a pretty outstanding defensive end themselves. I know we've got Taquan Graham that, well, really the whole state's talking about him right now. He's been a beast for the playoffs, but they've got a pretty good defensive end themselves, and I know they've got a really good linebacker back there too, don't they?
Yeah, I think they've got, if my sources are correct, they've got half dozen or so kids that are P5 type kids. I mean, one of them's a linebacker, one of them's a DN. A couple of offensive linemen, they're just unbelievably huge. They've got a 6'6" receiver that's running around out there just doing his thing.
Do we have anybody that tall?
Yeah, if you start getting on people's shoulders.
Right. That's right.
Jared's probably pretty close. Jared's about 6'5", but
can you put Jared in a defensive back on Saturday?
Maybe. I don't know.
Hey, those other guys did it last week.
Yeah, they did.
I hadn't seen that all year. I mean, I thought that was pretty interesting. That was kind of a risk, them putting those.
Well, and they did it with the videos that we had. We traded, 4 videos or whatever with them. So, that wasn't just a Temple thing. I mean, they've done that. That's their nickel package. They put CD back there in the back when they want to keep people from throwing the ball, and he does a pretty good job of thwarting those efforts. So
I can imagine he's a hawk.
Yeah. But you know, I mean, we're gonna line up and make a trip up there and hit somebody in the mouth and see what happens. That's the brand of football that I think what we've done a good job of doing is trying to make people play Temple football. And I don't mean that we're more physical or, you know, more than anybody else, but we have a specific intent, and that intent is not to go out there and cover passes or go out there and position block. I mean, our intent is to go out there and try to hit somebody dead in the mouth and just see where it goes from there.
Well, it's been one heck of a ride, and I guess I don't know if you know, this is our finale this year. We're not going to have another coaches show because I'm going to be out of town next week, and so I know I already broke the news to you that my family vacation starts at 11 a.m. Saturday morning, so I need you to go win a game for me if you would, please, and maybe buy me a T-shirt or something if you would. You know, can you do that for me, Coach?
Tell you what, I'll take a selfie.
Yeah. Hey, that's right. That's appropriate. That's exactly what you should do for me. So
I'll take a selfie and send it to you. That's all right. You said you were going to be able to do some kind of media thing or social media thing from the
Yeah, I'm going to be on the deck of the Carnival Freedom.
There so
I'm
that's a rough life you got going there, bud. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, my wife works really hard, by the way.
I'm just shaving years off my life, and you're going to the Carnival Freedom.
I am. I'm going to be. Yeah, I'm going to be on the deck of the ship, and I'm talking to them about setting me up a remote broadcast deal on the deck of the ship, and I'm going to try to talk Joe into give me some old T-shirts and throwing them to passengers and taking pictures of people from all over the place.
Yeah, have a
Temple
watch party.
Wildcat T-shirt.
Have a watch party on the boat. That'd be cool.
Why not, man? They got a huge TV out there on the deck, but I don't know. I know the Quarterback Club is going to try to get you, if you would, at the end of all this, maybe to have one last film session.
Yep.
So
that's fine. At some point, I'm going to want to sleep.
Yeah, I imagine.
Yeah, just
well, you deserve
maybe like 8 hours. That's all I'm saying. If I can get 8 hours of sleep, that's fine. I mean, that stuff's fun. It's, I think everybody worries about, oh my gosh, your time. I mean, that's part of it. This is an identity for this community. I knew that when I signed up. It'd be kind of selfish of me, and I think we're all selfish. I think we're all born sinners by nature, but I do think that I'm not selfish when it comes to that kind of stuff. I mean, I know. I grew up here. I lived 7 miles north, but I grew up in Temple. My mom worked in Temple. I've been a Temple kid my entire life, and so I know what these programs, and not just football. I know what athletics. This town it's a blue collar town, and it's about a train station, it's about a hospital, and it's about athletics.
Yeah.
I mean, and I know we got a bunch of other stuff going on. We got entrepreneurs and restaurants and all this stuff, but I mean, if you broke that down into generalities, that's what it's a blue collar town that's got a big old hospital, got a big old train station, and it loves its athletics, and in particular football. And I mean, it's honestly an honor for me to kind of take some time and I mean, you got to see the parents. I got moms in here that start talking about Vietnam because that's one of our key words when we start talking about our kickoff coverage. Is once you get into Vietnam, there's no more running around blocks. You got to run through people. And so when I'll say, "Hey, what we got right here?" Boom, Vietnam. I mean,
it's fun watching them cheer, man.
They understand that. And I've got moms that come up to me and say, "Coach, I even saw Vietnam. I was watching the game and I was telling people up there." That's what it's about. I mean, the relationship. I've always said that school spirit and football towns or sports towns. It's the relationship between the team and the community.
Yeah.
And any relationship, I don't care what it is, has to be symbiotic if it's going to be. In other words, you got to give to it. You know what I mean? Like these kids, they love doing stuff, and they love those fans. They rely. I mean, it is a dependence. Have they let them in yet? Our kids will be like, "Coach, they let them in yet?" They let them because they'll hear them. They can hear them hollering outside and doing cheers.
Yeah.
And they'll say, "Have they let them in yet?" Because they love running. Even when we go through for pregame, they love getting in 2x2. We did that because of a verse out of the Bible that talked about when he sent the apostles out 2x2 into the world with no weapons, with no food, no weapons, no baggage, no luggage, no nothing. Jesus sent them out into the world, and that's how we leave the field after pregame. The next time we step on that field is to go to war. And so we leave that field 2x2 with no weapons, no food, no nothing. And their favorite part, and they'll tell me their favorite part is when they get in 2x2 and we're going through there and everybody's cheering for them. I think that's one of the coolest things. That's a cool feeling for me that those kids, that's their favorite part. I mean, they like winning. They like playing. They love playing. Don't get me wrong.
But sure.
They love that part. They love that these fans care enough about them to show up early, to get loud, to act crazy. I still don't understand why everybody pops those little white things after the game for about 2 hours, but it's cool that it happens. I mean,
Hey, you got the best fans in the state,
no
man.
question.
We're trying to get 20,000 white shirts this time because we're
19,999. One of them's going to be on a boat.
Yeah, that's right. And I guarantee you're never going to let me live that down.
Never. So. But it's all out of love, though. It's all. I will tell you, of all the people, I know who will want to be there more than anything on the planet. So it's all in good fun, bud. I'm teasing you.
Hey, it's like I told you before the game. I'm still tossing around. I mean, I could go to the game and get divorced. I haven't. That's still a maybe. We'll see. I hope my wife's not listening tonight. But
it's cheaper to keep her, brother.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Love you, honey.
Well, man, thanks a lot for coming out and once again spending time that you could be, looking at film and everything. And your town really appreciates the fact that you take the time out to do this.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what, it ain't my town, but I'm honored to be a part of it, and I don't do all that humble stuff so that I don't hug kids so that people think I'm cool. I mean, you get what you get. You get what you get. We're gonna pray. We're gonna do stuff that I believe in, and if that costs me my job, and if that offends people, I can't wait to see what else is coming for me. So, that's done out of genuality, and I think people appreciate that. I think they probably appreciate that more than anything, because but it's important to me for that young man to know that I stand for something. So we're not going to let the kids. Temple always had a reputation when I was in the coaching realm, and I've always known it's a one-horse town that I would love to be at because I grew up here, and the whole rumor was always the inmates run the asylum, the inmates run the asylum. Well, once you get, or that there's metal detectors in the door, I mean, it couldn't be further from the truth. That school is like a country club. It outscores everybody in the area and all the testing stuff. It's got an IB school. I mean, Temple is a phenomenal school. It's a phenomenal community. It's phenomenal athletics town, and so people on the outside don't understand it. Therefore, they either make stuff up or perceive stuff that's just simply not true. And then those on the inside can't explain it because they know it's something special and they know what it is. So it's just an honor to be a part of it. And I mean, I'll do whatever I can to protect the tradition and protect the perception of what this town is and what this community is and what this Wildcat Nation is.
Hey, man, I'm with you all the way because I feel the same way about this town and this school district, and I just don't think you can get any better. I firmly believe that, and I think you're 100% correct. Well, man, thanks a lot. Thanks again for coming. I'll be texting you on Saturday, and I'll be praying
for you.
Have a
Mai Tai. Is that something, a Mai Tai?
Yeah.
Isn't that something?
I don't know. I don't know what that is. I don't know, man.
Joe, I'm going to give him, you know what, until, you know what I'm saying?
I know that they have free coffee. I know that.
There you go.
So,
there you go.
Anyway, this has been, we're going to take a break real quick and come back and talk to a couple other people, but so this has been Alan Roark with Inside Wildcat Football. We'll be back here in a couple of minutes on News Radio 1400 KTEM. Thanks again. Let's give a hand to Coach Scott Stewart for being with us again tonight, and wish him good luck for the state championship. And
go Big Blue, I'll tell you that. Let's do that.
That's right. Go Big Blue. And we'll be back on News Radio 1400 KTEM in just a couple of minutes.